Good morning or afternoon. This is Jason with Real Smart Consulting, and I wanted to do a very special edition of Mission Monday in light of current events that are happening. So I wanted to share a couple of thoughts that I have and conversations that I've had over the past days and weeks with clients, with coaching clients, and sort of bring hopefully some encouragement, some clarity to a lot of what's going on in the world and how it applies to us personally. So one of the things that I think is most common right now is a feeling of having a big question mark looming overhead and feeling like being in darkness. And I use the example of a ship that may be on the sea, right? It's on the sea, it's a rough sea, it's nighttime, midnight, and there's no moonlight. And that ship, that captain is looking out for some flicker of light to help guide them to safety. And they're looking for that lighthouse. And I think that's where a lot of us are in our lives and our professions and our business. Right now, there's so many question marks. And we're in a position globally where there's no roadmap. You can't turn on the GPS and plug in the destination and figure out how to navigate through this. So there's a lot of kind of feeling through the darkness to figure out where you're going, where we're headed. And for someone who is in a business or profession where you're a service provider, you're a solutions provider, and you pride yourself on solving tough problems, when you're in a position where you don't have those answers to provide to people, to provide to your family, and even provide to yourself, it's a very frustrating and also humbling position to be in. Because again, if you're priding yourself on providing solutions and you can't provide it, that's very humbling. And so I think that a lot of us, again, globally, whether we're in the White House, whether we're in the CEO seat, whether we're working in a hospital, whether we're managing a household, whether we're in the UN, the World Health Organization, wherever throughout the world, we're all in a position where we're trying to navigate a road, a place that we haven't been before. And it can be scary, it is dangerous, and it can be frustrating. And it can almost give feelings of self-defeat. And so in talking with some of my coaching clients recently, helping us all to navigate those emotions, those normal emotions of feeling deflated or defeated, feeling confused, bewildered, all that's a normal part of the process that we're all going through right now. And that's the important thing, that we're all going through it. There's not a household, there's not a nation that doesn't have some impact from what we're going through right now. So one of the things that is really common and hurtful as a society and a culture is a feeling of isolation. And that isolation happens when you feel like you're the only one going through something. So rest assured, I don't know if that's the best way of putting it, but just know that everyone is going through it. And we're all a global community, and we're all dealing with this. And it doesn't help when we have things that are necessary. In many cases where there's quarantines and isolation. And then there's this thing that I'm just hearing about. I don't think I've heard this term before, but we're all hearing it now, of social distancing. And so again, that feeds into the isolation. And of course, there are health reasons for all of that. My point here is that it's easy when you're feeling like you're alone to have a further downward spiral into a pit. And again, having those emotions, 100% absolutely normal. And one of my former pastors used to say, he would say that if a man doesn't drown because he falls into the water, he drowns because he stays there. So we all can have that feeling of defeat. We can all have that feeling of even maybe at times taking a pity party or having a victim mindset for a while. And that's a part of the normal process. What matters, though, is that you don't stay there. So if you got to deal with that season, deal with it. But don't stay there. A man doesn't drown, again, because he falls in the water. He drowns because he stays there. So the question is, how do we get out of the water? I use the illustration and the analogy of being in a valley as well. And when you're in a valley, you're often between 2 points. You're between a peak that you probably were on before, on that mountain, on a mountain behind you, and then in front of you, there's another mountain that's in front of you with a peak. And it's a frustrating thing, because if you were riding high on that peak and you're looking back at it and you're remembering what it was like being up there, and then you're looking at the reality of where you are right now, that can be frustrating. And to add further to that, you're looking at this major obstacle that's in front of you, and that obstacle can look insurmountable. But my encouragement today is that we don't look at that obstacle in front of us solely as an obstacle. It is a challenge, it is an obstacle, but if we look at it as an opportunity, I think we'll find something very key here. And when I say opportunity, I don't mean opportunity in the sense that unfortunately many people have in terms of capitalizing off of a trial and a difficult situation, where I heard someone had purchased 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer and was attempting to sell it at astronomical prices, up to $70 a bottle for something that cost $1. That's not the type of opportunity I'm talking about here. The opportunity I'm talking about here is for self-development, self-reflection, and evaluation and growth, and also to help somebody else. And what I mean by that is, as I work with coaching clients, one of the major points and commonalities in all of them, when I ask, well, why do you do what you do? Typically, there's going to be the response, because I want to help people, right? So right now is an opportunity for us to think about the ways in which we help people. So how are we expressing that? So because of closures, I mean, you look around, there's shutdowns and closures everywhere, from entertainment to places of business and all across the board. So the way we go about helping people may have to shift. There's a paradigm shift, and that requires some reflection. It requires us going back to basics and going back to some of the things and basic principles of our foundation of how we got started doing what we do. And that's why when I work with coaching clients, I always walk them through that foundation first of, why are you doing this? What is your passion? What are your unique experiences? What is all the stuff that makes you who you are, that allows you to do what you do? Right? So that's very important. So foundation is going to be something that I think that revisiting right now would be very healthy to help you get clarity. Again, what happens with being stuck or being in a pit is that you can feel like you have no power to control what's going on. And I use the example in my A Life of Value workshop. I talk about anger and grief. Anger causes you to take action. It causes you to take either positive action or negative action. Action that will solve the problem, or action that will put you in jail. But action. And then there's grief, on the other hand. Grief typically causes a person to withdraw, to go into a cave, and to not want to come out. And the reason for that is they feel like they don't have the power to make any changes or do anything about the situation. So I don't want you in grief. I'd rather you be in anger, because then at least you've got a 50-50 chance of taking some action that will positively get you out. But anyway, it's going to be a conscious decision to not stay in that grief. You're going to have to focus on the results that you want to see. And then talking a little bit about some of the silver lining in all of this, going back to some of the conversations that I have with coaching clients about why they're in coaching or why they want to make changes to their life or business. And oftentimes they say, hey, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to spend more time with my kids. And so you look around and you look at the school closings, you look at the office shutdowns and government buildings and things that are closing, and it's forcing everyone to do what? To come home. With even the self-quarantines, all that type of stuff. Everyone's at home now, and it's really giving us the chance to reflect on what we said, were priorities, that I want to spend more time with family, with my kids and all of that. So now we're forced to really evaluate, were those statements true, and how were we living those statements out? So again, a very humbling and self-reflective time. So hear me right, though. There's a difference between self-reflection and self-condemnation. So it's really easy in a time like this, where we're all being forced to examine ourselves and humble ourselves and look at our worlds. It's very easy to condemn ourselves and say, I screwed this up, I messed this up, I should have been better prepared, what have you. But the fact here and the focus here should really be on, what do I need to do to move forward? What do I need to do? Because tomorrow, even though it may not look like it, tomorrow will come. And when we arrive in tomorrow, it's the decisions that we make today and the actions that we take today that will determine our position in tomorrow. So if we do nothing today and we sort of sit and just look at the world and feel defeated in that cave, when tomorrow comes, we won't be in a position that we are stronger and better prepared for it. So prepare for the tomorrow that you want. And that can be easier said than done. Obviously, we've got challenges all around us. But if we're going to get to a place where we want to be, we're going to have to take actions and do some things maybe that are not that easy to do, and make decisions that aren't easy. I've had to make some decisions this week myself. And I had speaking opportunities and have a workshop on Thursday that I'm putting on for entrepreneurs and real estate professionals. And that was supposed to be taking place in Arlington, Virginia, in person. I was looking forward to shaking hands, and I'm a big relationship person, so building those relationships. But looking at different things, I had to make the decision to not cancel it. I believe in forging ahead and marching forth. So not canceling it, but shifting the way and the approach that I'm taking with that. And we changed it to an online web experience. So we'll still be meeting, and I'm making some adjustments so that we can still network. We can still introduce ourselves, talk about what we do the same way we would if we were in person, but just doing it virtually. So in this time, we're just got to find ways to do things differently. But you know what? When you're forced to find ways to do things differently, that's what's called innovation. And innovation is a good thing, and we can grow from that. So I know I've kind of gone on much longer. Looks like it's about 12 minutes right now. I usually do like a 2-minute Mission Monday, but I wanted to share those thoughts and encouragement. So hopefully what I've said today has been encouraging. If I said something that was kind of direct or hope nothing came across as offensive, my heart and my desire, my goal here is really to provide some hope, some clarity, some direction and encouragement that even though we're walking through a valley, there is a peak that's just ahead. And I want to give you the tools, and I want to give you the encouragement and really the accountability as well that's going to enable you to get to that peak that is ahead of you. So this is Jason with a special edition of Mission Monday. I hope that you will take into consideration some of the principles and things that I've shared in this video and in this time today. I hope that you will be an encouragement to someone else. Maybe share this with someone who could use this type of encouragement, this type of direction and aid for clarity. Also, a couple of tools that I have for free, not selling them or making money off of them. I have what I call the ultimate guide to finding clarity in life and business. If you're at home right now, maybe even with the family or with kids, you can all download that for free. I'm going to put the link on the site as well, and you can download that, walk through it with your family, walk through it for yourself personally, walk through it for your business, and find some clarity around what you're doing with your life, finding your significance, and hopefully growing from there. So hope you'll download that and reach out to me if you have questions, if you've got feedback, drop a comment or direct message me. You can go onto my site, www.realsmartconsulting.com. That's REALSMART consulting.com, and get some of the resources off of there. I'm here. I'm passionate, and I didn't just start doing this week because of coronavirus or anything else out there. I've been doing this for a while. My passion is encouraging others, helping them to find their significant place in the world, and helping them to share that significance so that the world becomes a happier, healthier, more productive place to live. So again, Jason with Real Smart Consulting. Make it a great day. Make it a great week. And let's have a great life together.